At our anniversary, my boyfriend made me a playlist, but when track 7 started playing, my heart shattered. Because instead of a love song, I heard a voice memo of him joking with his friends about how he was going to dump me on my birthday, and one of them laughed and said, "Just don't bring up the thing with the other girl." Weeks later, he waited me every day in front of my apartment. I used to think the universe talked in signs, songs on the radio that matched my mood, angel numbers on receipts, strangers saying something I swore I just thought. That kind of thing. So when I saw the title of the playlist for us pop up on my Spotify the morning of our 3rd anniversary, I thought, see? The universe is rooting for us. I should have known better. The universe wasn't sending me a gift, it was sending a warning. Noah had never been the grand gesture type. More like the accidentally romantic kind. Coffee in the car with my name spelled right. Rewatching The Office for the 4th time, because I'd had a rough week. Grabbing my favorite oat milk creamer without being asked. So when he texted, "Check Spotify," that morning with a heart emoji, I actually teared up. Because that was a big deal for him. 20 tracks, each one tied to a memory. I started listening while getting ready for work, still in my robe, half a bagel in one hand, hair halfway curled. The first few were sweet. Track 1, Banana Pancakes, our rainy Sunday tradition. Track 2, that James Blake song we played on loop the first time we slept in the same bed. Track 5 was the one that played in the background when we said I love you for the first time at a terrible hotel with paper-thin walls and way too many mirrors. My heart felt warm, safe, like maybe we really were okay. We'd been in a weird place lately, distant, snapping more. He'd been busy with work and not sleeping well, and I'd blamed my own anxiety, hormones, the weather, anything but him. But then came track 7, titled for later, lowercase, no artist listed, just a blank thumbnail and a runtime. 3 minutes and 28 seconds. I almost skipped it, thought maybe it was a hidden track or something cute. But then I heard his voice, not singing, talking. It started with him laughing awkwardly, like he didn't know the mic was recording. Okay, so, if you're listening to this, you're probably already out. Or you chickened out again. Shocker. I froze, mascara wand in midair. Just say it. She's not the one. She never was. The wand dropped into the sink. I stood there in complete silence as the voice I'd fallen asleep next to for 3 years unraveled everything. You tried, man. You gave it 3 years. That's noble. But you can't fake forever. The world tilted. Was this some weird message? A breakup prank? Then his friend said it. You're gonna do it on her birthday. Just clean break? It'll suck, but she'll be fine. She always bounces back, right? My birthday was in 2 weeks. And just like that, the playlist wasn't a love letter. It was a countdown. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, or rewind the audio and pretend I'd misheard it. But my thumb stayed frozen over the screen, like even my body didn't know what to do with the information it had just absorbed. The audio kept playing. You just have to be honest. You owe her that much, but don't make it messy. Don't bring up the thing with Mads. She doesn't know, and she doesn't need to. Mads? My stomach flipped. Mads was short for Madison, his coworker. The one with the fake laugh and the habit of touching his arm every time she said "you're so bad" in group settings. The one I'd asked about once, just once, and he'd acted like I was paranoid. Then he said it. Yeah, I'll say it's not working. Say I've grown apart. She'll cry, probably. But at least I'll be free. He made it sound like loving me was some kind of jail sentence. I hit pause. My fingers were shaking. I couldn't even process it all at once. Like my brain was trying to filter out the parts that hurt the most, just so I could keep breathing. I sat on the edge of the tub, robe still half open, and played it again from the beginning. This time, I caught something I missed the first time. The date. At the very start, in the background, someone, maybe him, says, "Okay, March 14th, 2:17 a.m. That was 3 nights ago. 3 nights ago, Noah had been in bed with me. We'd ordered Chinese. He let me steal the last egg roll. He held me like nothing was wrong and kissed my forehead before falling asleep. I remember thinking, we're getting back to normal. He had recorded a goodbye memo after kissing me goodnight. I didn't go to work that day. I didn't change out of my robe. Didn't brush my hair. I just sat on the bathroom floor with my back against the door, replaying the last few weeks, months, years of our life together, like some cruel, reverse highlight reel. All the little weird moments suddenly clicked into place, the way he'd flinched when I said I can't wait to spend forever with you, how he kept turning his phone face down, how he hadn't posted about me in over 2 months but still liked Madison's thirst traps, the last-minute work dinners, the sudden shift from calling me baby to just hey. It wasn't in my head. None of it was. Around 2 p.m. I did something very un-me. I got in my car, drove to the coffee shop near his office, and sat in the back corner where he wouldn't see me. I had no plan, no intention of confronting him, not yet. I just wanted to see him. To confirm he still looked like the man I loved, to see if he was struggling too. He wasn't. He walked in with Madison. She was laughing at something he said. He touched her back when she passed in front of him. They shared a look, the kind of look that used to belong to me. The kind that says, "You're the one I want." I don't know how long I sat there, heart pounding, throat burning, hands clenched into fists inside my jacket pockets. Long enough to watch them grab drinks, sit at a booth, and lean in a little too close for coworkers. Long enough to know track 7 wasn't a mistake. It was a rehearsal. You know that feeling when your stomach drops before your brain even fully understands why? Like when you miss a step in the dark or realize your drink tastes weird, and why is it spicy? That was me, watching Noah laugh with Madison like I hadn't been the one helping him through panic attacks, family drama, and late-night existential spirals for the last 3 years. He looked light, untethered, like someone who had already unhooked himself from our life and was floating towards something new. And I wanted to sink his little hot air balloon right out of the sky. I didn't cry on the way home. I didn't scream or punch my steering wheel or call my best friend sobbing like I probably should have. I just went numb and calculating. Like my nervous system had filed for emotional bankruptcy and left my brain fully in charge. I listened to the playlist again, from the top. Not because I wanted to wallow, but because I was hunting for cracks. I wanted to find every lie buried in every sweet lyric. I wanted to know exactly what he thought I deserved. And oh, he gave me more than I expected. Track 9 was our first vacation together song, the one that played when we danced barefoot in the Airbnb kitchen. In the voice memo at the end of that song, yes, another one I heard him whisper, "I should have gone alone." That trip was the nail in the coffin, but she looked so happy. I couldn't do it. Track 14 had background audio too, a clip from a party we threw last New Year's. I heard myself in the background saying, "This year is gonna be ours." He replied, off mic but clear, "God, I hope not." The playlist wasn't just a goodbye letter, it was a eulogy. And for some reason, he'd chosen to bury me with it before I was even gone. Noah thought I'd fall apart quietly. He thought I'd sit at home, cry into my favorite hoodie, and eat ice cream out of a mug because we never bought proper bowls. He didn't expect me to be the one rewriting the ending. So that night, I did 3 things. I screenshotted the playlist, every song, every timestamp, every note and voice memo, just in case he tried to take it down. I cleared out the shared folder on our Google Drive, the one we use for recipes, trip planning, budgeting. I left one doc behind. It was blank, except for the words. Made a playlist of my own. I called it for later. Track 1? Good for you, obviously. Track 2? Kill Bill. Track 3? An 8-second clip of my voice memo. "You messed with the wrong calm girl. Watch what happens next." It wasn't for him to hear. Not yet. It was for me. Here's the cruel little cherry on top. Our friends were throwing us a surprise anniversary party that weekend. Well, they thought it was a surprise. Noah had accidentally mentioned it during one of his 2 a.m. "I can't sleep. Can we talk about something random?" rambles. Back then I smiled, told him he was terrible at keeping secrets, and secretly started practicing my surprised face. Cute, right? Now it felt like stepping into a trap. Except this time, I wasn't walking in blind. I almost canceled. Almost texted Lena, my best friend since middle school, the unofficial party planner, the reason Noah and I even met in the first place. She'd coordinated the whole thing, the rooftop reservation, the fairy lights, the acoustic guitarist who only played soft indie covers of rap songs. Very us. But then I thought, no, he wanted to make this clean, quiet, forgettable. So I was gonna make it messy, loud, unforgettable. Not by screaming, not by throwing drinks or calling Madison names in public. Nope, I was gonna smile and watch him sweat. That Saturday, I got ready like I was heading to prom and wore. Curled my hair to perfection. Wore the green satin dress Noah once called a little too much for brunch. It hugged in all the right places, and I looked expensive. I didn't text him all day. Let him wonder. When I arrived at the rooftop, I waited a beat before walking in. Just long enough to hear the swell of voices shout, "Surprise!" I gasped, hands over my mouth. Oscar-worthy. Then I saw his face. Noah looked stunned, and not in a good way. His eyes scanned me like he couldn't compute. Why I looked like I hadn't been crying all week. Why my smile didn't shake. Why I wasn't already halfway to meltdown mode. That was the moment I knew. He still thought I didn't know. I made rounds, hugged people, thanked them, laughed easily. Everyone commented on how radiant I looked. Pain makes a great highlighter, apparently. When Madison arrived late, of course Noah's eyes flicked to her, then back to me, like a silent check-in. She barely acknowledged me. Perfect. I waited until the guitarist started playing our song, the one from that Airbnb kitchen, and then I made my move. Stepped onto the little makeshift stage. Took the mic with a practiced ease. Smiled like I was floating on champagne and good vibes. "Noah and I want to thank you all for being here," I said. 3 years is a long time, and we've shared so much trips, birthdays, Spotify accounts, Laughter. I kept smiling. And playlists. A pause. I actually want to play a little something for you all. Noah made me a playlist this week. It meant a lot. And one track in particular really stuck with me. I pulled out my phone. Airplayed it to the rooftop speakers. Track 7. His voice filled the space. Just say it. She's not the one. She never was. Silence. Then, gasps. Whispers. One very audible Holy Street from the guitarist. Oops! Noah's face turned to stone. I met his eyes and tilted my head. Smiled. You're gonna do it on her birthday. I hit pause. Oops, I said sweetly. Must have hit the wrong track. But hey, if you're gonna leave someone, maybe don't put your breakup monologue in a shared playlist. Just a tip. And with that, I handed the mic back. I didn't storm out after the mic drop. I walked, slowly, deliberately, like I had all the time in the world, and not a single thing to prove. The rooftop behind me had dissolved into whispers and stunned silence except for Madison, who would be lined to the exit like it was a fire drill. Funny how fast people run when a mask starts to slip. I made it to the stairwell before I heard the door swing open behind me. Noelle, wait. There it was. The voice that used to sound like comfort now just sounded like guilt dressed in a varsity jacket. I turned around slowly, one eyebrow raised. Noah looked pale, hands shaking, like he didn't know what to do with them. Like someone had stolen his cue cards and left him on stage with nothing but regret and a mouthful of excuses. Noelle, I can explain, I laughed. One short, sharp breath. That's the best you've got? You literally already explained. Track 7, remember? His face contorted shame, panic, maybe even a flicker of anger. But I was past giving him a soft place to land. He stepped closer. I didn't mean for you to hear that. I was venting. It was stupid. I didn't even know it got uploaded. That part 1, believe, I said flatly. Because if you had known, you would have rushed to delete it the second it went live. And you didn't. He reached out. I stepped back. No. No more touching. No more soft voices or apologies or babe please. You made your playlist. You wrote your exit. I just gave you the audience you clearly wanted. He opened his mouth, but I held up a finger. You said I wasn't the one. You said you were planning to leave me. You called me low maintenance. Like I was a car, or a couch, or some background setting in your life you could forget was there. So tell me, Noah, what exactly are you trying to save right now? Me? Or the version of yourself you were hoping people wouldn't see? His mouth opened, closed, opened again. And then he just stood there, silent, scriptless. A door creaked open above us. Lena peeked out. You good? She asked, already halfway down the stairs before I could even respond. I'm perfect, I said. And for the first time in days, it didn't feel like a lie. Noah looked between us, his voice barely above a whisper. So that's it? Lena looped her arm through mine as we walked down the street together. I could still feel Noah's eyes on my back. You okay? She asked. I exhaled. No, but I will be. And I meant it. Because heartbreak is hard. But humiliation? That's rocket fuel. The first text came an hour after the party. Can we just talk? Please. Then, you're blowing this way out of proportion. Followed by a voice memo, 45 seconds long, where Noah sounded just drunk enough to think vulnerability might save him. I messed up, okay? I was scared. Things haven't been the same for a while. And I thought maybe it was easier if I just ripped the Band-Aid. I didn't mean for it to come out like that. I didn't mean for you to hear it like that. The Band-Aid? He was talking about me like I was a blister. I didn't respond. By Sunday morning, he'd upgraded to what I call emotional whack-a-mole, calling from different numbers, DMing my friends, even texting my sister, who lives 3 states away and hadn't spoken to him since Thanksgiving. The messages were all variations of the same theme. I messed up. I didn't mean it. I still love you. But here's the thing. Once you hear someone talk about you when they think you're not listening, you can't unhear it. You can't unfeel it. And I was done feeling like a backup plan in my own story. On Monday, I went back to work. Showed up to my marketing job with a blazer, winged liner, and the most disturbingly serene energy anyone in the office had ever seen. A few people asked how my weekend was. I just smiled and said, eye-opening. My coworker Alicia gave me that girl, spill later look. I didn't, because I was done talking about Noah. I had plans now. That night, I posted something to my story. Just a quote, white text on black. When someone shows you who they are, don't make a playlist about it. Me, I didn't tag him. Didn't have to. He watched it 6 times. Later, while cleaning out my closet, I found a shoebox I'd almost forgotten about our memory box. Movie tickets. That dumb photo strip where we both looked sunburned and deliriously happy. A Valentine's card he made me out of a cereal box. I didn't burn it. Didn't rage rip it into confetti. I packed it away gently, taped the lid shut, and wrote on top in Sharpie, "This version of us is over." Because closure doesn't always look like fire. Sometimes, it looks like recycling. Tuesday night, just as I was settling into the blissful numbness of a post-breakup skincare routine face mask on, silk robe tied, TikTok queued up, I got a DM from a burner account. No profile pic, no bio, just the name AnnanAngel82. At first, I rolled my eyes. Probably Noah again, trying to bypass the block. But the message wasn't from him. Not directly, anyway. It read, "If you think track 7 was bad, you should hear what he said about Madison. Check your email." Subject, Swan Song. You're welcome. My heart dropped into my stomach. I should have ignored it, closed the app, thrown my phone across the room, called Lena for a dose of sanity. But I didn't. Because curiosity might have killed the cat, but betrayal made her morbidly curious. I opened my email. There it was, Swan Song. No message. Just a M4, a file attached. I hesitated half, expecting it to be a Rickroll or some virus, but I pressed play. And there he was. Again. Noah. Same voice, same tone, same bedroom echo in the background. I don't even know if I like Madison, honestly. She's hot, yeah. And she actually listens to me when I talk about music and doesn't make me feel like I'm always the boring one in the relationship. Cool. But like, she's not it either. She talks about herself nonstop, and honestly, sometimes I miss how quiet Noelle was. Like I didn't have to perform all the time. Oh, so now I was quiet? I just wish I could combine the two. Noelle's loyalty and Madison's energy. Then I'd actually have something worth staying for. My mouth dropped open. A Frankenstein girlfriend. He wanted to build a woman from spare parts because no single, breathing human woman was good enough for him on her own. I paused the memo and stared at my reflection in the dark screen. There it was. That quiet voice in the back of my mind finally got louder. He was never looking for love. He was looking for control. And I finally slipped out of his grip. I didn't forward the memo to anyone. Didn't leak it. Didn't threaten him with it. I didn't need to. Because someone already had. Madison's Instagram story hit like a slap with a satin glove. A single martini glass. A sleek bar. And the caption, "To building women out of spare parts." No tag. No context. No mess. Just pure, silent venom served chilled. I blinked at my screen for a full minute. Half impressed, half stunned. It was the exact kind of subtle clapback I would have posted if I were in her heels. Which meant only one thing. She'd heard the voice memo, too. I wasn't sure whether to reach out. We weren't friends. We were barely acquaintances. I knew her mostly as the girl who always had winged eyeliner sharp enough to slice egos and a laugh that made men lean in too far. She had been the villain in my mind. The interloper. The other woman. But now? Now she was something else. She was me, 6 weeks ago. Except this time, Noah hadn't just underestimated one woman, he'd underestimated both of us. Later that night, while doom scrolling and stress eating an entire sleeve of Ritz crackers, I got another DM. This time from Madison herself. So, I guess we both got the mixtape from hell. I stared at it for a second, then typed back, "You got the deluxe version." She replied instantly, "Do we hate each other or start a podcast?" I snorted. Actually snorted. "Let's start with coffee and see where it goes." She sent the coffee emoji and a location. We met at a tiny cafe halfway between both our apartments, neutral ground, like we were exes from a past life meeting to sign a peace treaty. She was already seated when I walked in, sunglasses on indoors, iced Americano in hand, looking exactly like someone who should be the villain in your story. But then she pulled off her shades, and for the first time, I saw it. She looked tired, raw, a little embarrassed, a little angry, and beneath it all, done. I slid into the seat across from her and said, "So, Frankenstein Girlfriend Club?" She grinned. "I'll make the t-shirts." We didn't rehash every detail. We didn't need to. Turns out, Noah had been feeding her the exact same lines, just in a different flavor. Where I was too passive, she was too intense. Where I was supportive, she was draining. He'd been ping-ponging between us like we were backup singers auditioning for a solo. And the best part? She'd sent me the second voice memo. Yep, the burner account. That was her. "I figured," she said, sipping her coffee, "if I was gonna find out he was a liar, I might as well make sure the girl before me knew it wasn't just her." I nodded, blinking back tears I didn't expect. Because for the first time since track 7 wrecked my world, I didn't feel crazy. I felt seen. By the time I got home from coffee with Madison, I felt weirdly lighter. Not healed, not fixed, but in control. The kind of calm that comes when you realize the worst has already happened, and you survived it. I set my phone down on the kitchen counter and took a deep breath. Maybe I'd light a candle, put on a sad girl playlist that didn't feature my ex's voice memos, and finally deep clean my brain of the last 3 years. But my phone lit up again. A text from my cousin, Brooke. At first I smiled. Brooke and I grew up more like sisters. She was the cool one, always had the best taste in music, could apply lashes in the back of a moving car, and once helped me sneak out of a terrible high school date by faking an asthma attack. Hey, just wondering, are you and Noah still together? I stared at the screen, blinked, then typed back, definitely not. Long story. Why? Her reply came seconds later. Because he's been DMing me. A lot. And some of it feels not right. My stomach hit the floor like an elevator with a snapped cable. Brooke? My Brooke? My hands were suddenly ice. I called her forget texting. Okay. She answered on the second ring. So don't freak out, too late. Right. So I thought maybe he was just reaching out to ask if you were okay. At first, it was kinda normal. Like, do you think she'd ever forgive me? And I didn't mean to hurt her. That sort of thing. I was silent, waiting, bracing. Brooke sighed. But then it got weird. He said he missed talking to me, that I was always more chill than you. And then last night he asked if I wanted to grab drinks to clear the air. Said he needed someone who understood him. The words hit like tiny stabs, familiar ones. Because that was exactly what he used to say to me about Madison. Low maintenance, easy to talk to, chill. It was his script. And Brooke was just the next audition. I felt sick. This wasn't just about me anymore. This wasn't heartbreak. This was a pattern. A disgusting, manipulative, well-rehearsed cycle. Noelle. Brooke said softly. I didn't respond to the last message. I felt gross even reading it. But I wanted to tell you in case he tries to spin it. I wiped at a tear I didn't even realize was falling. Thank you, I whispered. Because I wasn't just mourning a relationship anymore. I was watching a man unravel, one manipulation at a time. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was spiraling, those days were done, but because I was building something. And this time, he wouldn't see it coming. For weeks, I'd been the girl who got publicly humiliated by a playlist, the girl people whispered about at brunch, the one who walked off a rooftop party like a slow-motion scene from a breakup montage. But now I had his words, his playlist, his receipts, his patterns documented, screen recorded and backed up in 2 Google Drives and 1 airdropped folder on my sister's iPad. And most importantly, I had the truth. So I did what any woman raised on digital storytelling, Tumblr trauma dumps, and a sprinkle of chaotic neutral energy would do. I made a video. Not a rant, not a sob story. Just the story. I sat on my couch in a hoodie and no makeup, hair in a messy claw clip, and pressed record. Hi, I'm Noelle. I was in a relationship for 3 years. Thought it was love. Thought it was forever. Then my boyfriend made me a playlist for our anniversary. Track 7 wasn't a song. It was a voice memo. Cue audio. You're gonna do it on her birthday. Just clean break. I didn't over-explain. I didn't roast him. I just layered the truth. I talked about how gaslighting doesn't always look like screaming. It sometimes looks like you're overthinking it. I talked about the quiet pain of being someone's comfort object and never their choice. I blurred names. I didn't tag. I wasn't trying to cancel him. I was reclaiming my narrative. At the end, I added, if you've ever had someone rehearse your goodbye before even giving you a chance to fight for the relationship, this is your sign. You're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're just finally seeing clearly. Fade to black. I titled it Track 7, A Love Story Gone Silent. And I hit post. Within an hour, it had 40,000 views. By lunchtime, over 100K. The comments exploded. I got chills. The way you stayed calm, while my soul left my body. Raise your hand if your ex had a Madison and a cousin situation. Even Madison commented. And then, I got a text from an unknown number. Really classy, Noelle. Congrats on humiliating me. Hope the likes were worth it. No name needed. He was watching it all fall apart. And for the first time since that playlist dropped into my life like a bomb, I didn't feel like the casualty. I felt like the narrator. I should have known he wouldn't stay quiet. After the video went viral, we're talking 300K views in 48 hours, Noah did what men like him always do. He panicked. Not publicly, of course. He didn't comment, didn't post a rebuttal, didn't even make a fake healing TikTok to pretend he was journaling in nature or discovering inner peace. Instead, he started calling everyone around me. He texted my sister. I never meant to hurt her. You know that, right? He DM'd my boss. Some nonsense about hoping this doesn't affect Noelle professionally. For the record, my boss replied, it won't. She's excellent at her job. You should have been better at yours. And then, because chaos apparently doesn't believe in personal space, he showed up. It was Thursday afternoon. I was at my favorite cafe, the one with the velvet chairs and oat milk cortados, catching up on emails and pretending my life wasn't still trending on TikTok. And then I looked up, and there he was, Noah, in the doorway, wearing that jacket. The one he wore the night he said I love you for the first time. And for a second, Just a second, I almost felt it. That old pool. That nostalgia-tinted ache. Then I remembered track 7, and everything inside me went still. He approached slowly, hands up, like he was walking into enemy territory. Noel, please. 5 minutes. I stared at him. You're not supposed to be here. He ran a hand through his hair. I need you to know, it wasn't all fake. I didn't mean to hurt you like that. People were watching, whispering. Someone at the corner table subtly turned their phones sideways to record. I didn't blame them. Not here, I said, standing. You want 5 minutes? Fine. We walked to the alley behind the cafe. Quiet. Echo, yeah. Just us and the ghosts of everything he broke. You got what you wanted, he said. Your little video. Your revenge. I stared at him. That wasn't revenge, Noah. That was me telling my story, he scoffed. You made me look like a monster. You made yourself look like a monster. I just hit play. He looked away, jaw clenched, eyes rimmed red, but I couldn't tell if it was guilt or just performance. I lost everything, he muttered. I tilted my head. No, you lost control. There's a difference. He opened his mouth again, but I cut him off. I have something for you, I said. He blinked, confused. I pulled out my phone, opened my new playlist, one I hadn't shared with anyone but myself, titled, For Me Always. Track 1, a voice memo. My voice. Hi, this is a goodbye. Not a meltdown. Not a dramatic exit. Just the sound of a woman choosing herself. Noah stared at me, silent. I kept playing it. You taught me something. Not about love, but about clarity. About gut feelings. About the power of hearing the truth, even when it shatters you. I hit pause, looked him in the eye. That's the last track you'll ever hear from me. I walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't flinch when he called my name. Because closure isn't a conversation. It's a decision. And I'd finally made mine. Bah.